Hello there guys, so today we are going to trim down this rear panel as we were going to do in the last video until I installed that. Yeah, quite glad I did. It's a lot brighter over here now. So yeah, that's nice. So we'll get this panel trimmed down and try and get it to fit nicely and get it one step closer to being welded in. We might even... No, I was going to say we might even get it welded into there. No, this might be pushing it a bit. We'll see. We'll get as much done as we can anyway. So let's crack on with it. Okay then guys, so between the last time I spoke to you and what I've done, I read through a couple more comments that have been left on the video that I did straight off my phone and uploaded, the one where I asked for advice. And yeah, someone had a great idea of, sorry I can't remember who it was now, I do apologise, but of just bending this back into the right place. And of course that makes a lot of sense because this arch overlaps here all the way around the edge and the boot floor originally welds up to that, so that is exactly what I need to do. So that probably explains why these panels are actually too long here, because you're meant to probably do that to recreate how the original floor would have been, is my guess. So I've done the same at the other side. It didn't work out quite as well, but then again this part of the arch here isn't quite right still, I don't think. This doesn't seem quite right at all, but at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. I can just bend that back down and weld up the slits that I've made. So as long as it's all lining up at the back, then obviously we can cut this precisely to shape. That'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, I'll get some bolts in through as many of these holes that actually do line up, because the profile of this back edge still isn't quite correct to the original car, but I'll get as many of those to line up as I can, and then we'll get another line drawn, final line drawn on this, and then cut this off, cut out around the subframe mounting areas, and then we can think about getting it welded in. So yeah, it's one of them things, just like with the inner wings, it seems to take forever and don't get that much done, and then all of a sudden it all starts pulling together. So yeah, it's definitely one of them. So yeah, we'll do as I said and hopefully get it close to being ready to weld in. So let's carry on. Right, so I've got a bolt in the end, well at each end, and those line up, and then these three are an absolute mile off, unless you sort of pull it out a bit by hand. The hinge panel, that is, as you can see, it moves quite a lot. Now I do realise I should have put bracing in between the hinge panel and the back of the rear seat there. It's a little bit of an oversight, but I've cut it all out now, and clearly that has moved quite a lot. But I've measured the other car, so I've measured from, I've just locked it, never mind, but I've measured the gap in the boot in the other car from literally just here on this corner all the way over to this lip, and it is about 1.2 centimetres bigger, the distance on the other car, than it is on this, which also works out just right with how much this pulls out to be level with the repair panel. So with it bolted in at the sides, this is in the right place, and this hinge panel is not, by the looks of it. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to just bolt in at the ends, mark the rest of it up, and weld it in at that. And then obviously, looking at the state of this, you can see we need to either do some significant repairs or possibly just replace this lower bit of the back panel all the way along. And then when it comes to putting the new panel in, we'll have to take the car off the jig and actually fit the boot lid, and then see how the boot lid lines up with it, either as it sort of falls, where the panel itself falls, or if it lines up best pulled out like this, so that these holes actually line up. So yeah, obviously, I mean, if it falls where this one does and the boot lid fits, we'll just have to trim this panel down so it matches. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's all about getting the boot lid fitment just correct, really. That's the most important bit, I would say, about lining all those up. So yeah, we'll just have to do that when it comes to it. So until then, we'll just carry on as we are, with it lined up against the outermost holes, which don't actually move. So yeah, there we go. So we just need to hold this down, press it down from the top, mark it from underneath, cut it one last final time, and it's actually very close to being ready to weld in. Obviously we need to cut out around these subframe mounts as well on the actual shell. So yeah, there we go. Sorry, it's quite a lot of talking today, but I feel like we're getting quite a bit of progress too. So yeah, there we go. Let's carry on. So I'm bolting this rear panel on with whatever bolts these are, but they're obviously a little loose in the holes. So me being the bodging sod that I am, I have come up with this, because I didn't have any bolts bigger than those. Well, I did a couple, a tiny bit bigger, but not much bigger. So we've got a hub here that's actually scrap, because the inner races have been spinning in the hub. So that hub is scrap. That's off a friend's car from last week. We were originally just going to be replacing the bearings, but ended up getting new hubs, ball joints and bearings and everything. So I've just cut the end off the ball joints and used the nuts, and I've now made myself some bolts that fit almost perfectly. So yeah, there we go. That helps it just keep it exactly in the right place, so it's not going to move around at all when I'm lining any of this up. So yeah, thumbs up if you enjoyed my bodge. That's I'm quite impressed with that myself. Alright, let's carry on. Okay then guys, so we've got it all cut out along my line now, including the areas of the subframe mats. I just decided to do both sides because just easier. So yeah, these are the strengthening brackets that go from the wheel arch to the boot floor, which will still obviously show me where the what's it called, rear subframe mount holes things in the new panel, where they need to go. But there's one issue. So if I lay this on, that is in approximately the right place. There's still a little bit of trimming to do just here. The profile of this is still very wrong, as you can see. So, and I think, if I'm honest, I may have cut a little bit much off this because I haven't cut anything off this actual tub of it today. It's just around these edges. So when I originally laid this on and marked it, I've cut too much off, I think. But to get this to line up, I think what I'm going to have to do is do like I did round here, just cut some slits in it all the way along and just bend it up a little bit until this matches up, and hopefully it'll be close enough to just fill any little gaps with weld. If not, we might have to get some little strips of metal to put in there, but yeah, it's annoying, but hey, Magnum panels. So yeah, I feel like we're a lot closer to getting this panel in now. Yeah, that's good. Hopefully in the next couple of days of working on this we'll have it welded in for the most part. Obviously we're not going to be welding it in around the arch or onto this lip at the back yet, because the arch and the bottom of the boot, the bottom of the rear panel even, is getting replaced, so there's no point welding them up yet. So they're going to have to be my next things to do after we've got this welded into the floor. We'll get the rear wheel arches changed and the bottom of the rear panel as well. So yeah, I didn't really consider this at the time because I was hoping to just throw that panel in and then move back onto the front end somewhere, but it's going to have to be done first because of the lack of structure sort of thing at the back here now. Anyways, enough rambling, I'm tired. It is, wow, 7:30, okay, even later than I thought. So I'm going to go head home now, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys, and like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.